Do you know right now, today, what dies first when the power goes out for good? Your lights, your fridge, or your plan? Be honest? Because I watched my neighbor Elena find out the hard way. Day 1. She laughed it off. Candles, board games, romantic blackout. Day 2. The freezer thawed into a swamp and the tap coughed air. By day 3, the house was 9 degrees Celsius inside at dawn. Her kids were shivering in ski jackets, and she was boiling cloudy rainwater on a rusty grill that wouldn't stay lit. Her phone? Dead. Her car? Dead. Her patience? Gone. And here's what hit me. Elena isn't dumb. She's normal. Normal fails in a blackout. Not because people are weak, but because modern life has trained us to outsource every survival function to a wall socket and an app. Heat, water, food safety, security, information, 5 pillars, and when power dies, most people lose all 5 within 72 hours. That's why they start burning furniture, drinking bad water, and making panic choices that get worse every hour. This video is not camping tips, it's a wake-up call titled Why 90% of People Fail in a Blackout, and How Not to Be One of Them. I'm going to show you how to survive where Elena didn't, how to eat hot food without a stove, keep drinking water clean without a faucet, make light without broadcasting your location, stay warm without a thermostat, and get real information when the internet is a graveyard. And no, it's not about buying a bunker, it's about cheap gear that works without electricity, muscle-powered tools that never quit, and skills you can practice tonight in your kitchen. Do you actually know how to open every can in your pantry without power? Purify water when it looks almost clean? Keep your home dark on the outside and bright on the inside? Signal your family without a phone? If you can't say yes to all of that, you are betting your life on good luck and quick rescue. That's not a plan, that's a prayer. Let's fix it now, so when the grid stays dark, you don't. Item number 10. Non-electric cooking and heating equipment. Here's the brutal truth. In a long-term blackout, the #1 killer isn't starvation, it's hypothermia and foodborne illness. The CDC estimates that 600 people die in the US every year from power outage-related heating and cooking accidents. And that's during short-term blackouts, not permanent ones. Now multiply that by months, even years without power, and you start to see why 90% of people fail when the lights go out. When the grid collapses, everything you rely on to boil water, cook meals, or keep warm disappears. Microwaves? Dead. Electric stoves? Dead. Your HVAC system? Completely useless. But here's what the smart minority understands. Non-electric cooking and heating equipment is the line between survival and disaster. A simple $40 rocket stove uses sticks, twigs, even scraps of cardboard to cook entire meals with almost no smoke signature, making you invisible to desperate neighbors sniffing for food. A cast-iron Dutch oven placed over hot coals can bake bread, boil beans, or slow-cook meat just like your fancy slow cooker, except it never fails. And here's something few realize. In sub-zero temperatures, your body burns up to 5,000 calories a day just to stay warm. Without a way to cook calorie-dense foods, your reserves drain like a leaky faucet. Solar ovens, which cost under $50 to build from reflective panels, can reach 300 degrees Fahrenheit on sunny days and give you free energy forever. Thermal cookers trap heat so efficiently they finish cooking without more fuel, saving precious resources. The bottom line? Hot food and warmth aren't luxuries. They're what separates the survivors from the statistics. Item number 9. Rope, cordage, and fastening materials. If you think rope is just for camping trips, you're already in the 90% doomed to fail. In a blackout, cordage isn't optional, it's the backbone of improvisation. Here's why. When electricity dies, everything we normally fasten with screws, welds, clamps, and glue becomes a problem you'll need to solve with rope. According to FEMA's disaster response manuals, cordage is among the top 10 most requested items in refugee camps worldwide, right alongside food and water. That should tell you something. A $12 bundle of paracord gives you 100 feet of lifeline capable of hauling 550 pounds, but that's just the start. Strip it down, and you get fishing line, sewing thread, even emergency sutures. During Hurricane Katrina, Survivors used ropes to secure improvised rafts, haul supplies across flooded streets, and even rescue trapped neighbors from rooftops. Think about your daily life. How many times do you use powered fasteners, drills, nail guns, glue guns? All of those die instantly after an EMP. Without rope, duct tape and wire, you're naked against the elements. Bungee cords lash tarps against 70 miles per hour winds. Heavy-duty chains secure doors when law enforcement is gone. Zip ties, yes, the humble $10 bag from Walmart, become improvised handcuffs, makeshift repairs, and supply organizers. Even dental floss, strong nylon floss, has saved lives as stitching material. A properly stocked fastening kit, paracord, utility rope, duct tape, wire and bungees, costs under $40 and solves hundreds of problems. Ignore it, and you'll fail not because of food or water, but because your shelter collapses in the first storm. Item number 8. Mechanical locks and security hardware. Here's a statistic most people don't want to think about. After Hurricane Maria, violent crime in Puerto Rico spiked by over 30% in just 3 months, because security systems failed, and police were overwhelmed. Now imagine that on a nationwide scale during a total grid failure. Electronic locks, biometric safes, keypad entry systems. They're paperweights in an EMP. That's why 90% of people fail. They think Amazon Ring cameras and digital locks make them secure. The truth? Mechanical locks are the only thing standing between you and looters when order collapses. A $20 deadbolt works the same way it did 100 years ago. A $15 keyed padlock still keeps your supplies locked down. And while your neighbors are locked out of their own electronic safes because the keypad fried, you're calmly opening your mechanical combination safe and accessing your food, cash, or firearms. Security is about layers. Start with reinforced doors and window locks. Add steel bars, $5 window wedges, and shatterproof film that makes glass nearly impossible to break quickly. Why? Because time is your ally. Studies from the Department of Justice show that 60% of burglars abandon their attempts if a break-in takes longer than 60 seconds. Every layer you add forces intruders to make noise, attract attention, and burn precious time. Mechanical solutions don't fail, don't need batteries, and don't care about EMPs. Remember this: in the first week of blackout, hunger drives desperation. In the second, lawlessness takes root. The only reason you'll still have your supplies is because you thought ahead with locks that never go dark. Item number 7. Bicycles and human-powered transportation. The EMP Commission has warned for years. 90% of modern vehicles could be instantly disabled in a high-altitude EMP. That's not science fiction. That's congressional testimony. Cars today have up to 100 electronic control modules, all vulnerable to pulse damage. And here's the horrifying implication. Highways will turn into graveyards of dead cars. Millions stranded. Supply trucks frozen in place. Ambulances useless. Now imagine you have a bicycle. While everyone else is stuck walking, you're moving at 10 to 15 miles per hour, with the ability to cover 50 miles a day if needed. That's the difference between being trapped in a burning city and reaching a safe rural retreat. The Census Bureau reports that only 12% of Americans even own working bicycles, and most of those are collecting dust with flat tires and broken chains. That's why most people will fail. They're physically and logistically trapped. A $200 mountain bike with panniers and a $40 repair kit isn't recreation, it's survival mobility. During the 2003 blackout in New York City, bicycle shops reported their entire stock sold out within hours as people realized subways and cars weren't options. In Cuba's 1990s energy crisis, bikes became the backbone of transportation, carrying food, water, even livestock. Human-powered transport also has a stealth advantage. Cars make noise, burn fuel, and draw attention. Bikes are silent, low profile, and can be hidden off-road. Add a cargo trailer, and you can haul 100 pounds of supplies. Without a bike, you're part of the stranded 90%. With one, you're mobile, independent, and harder to target. Item number 6. Manual tools and hardware. Here's the ugly reality. We've built a society so dependent on power tools that most people can't even drive a nail straight. According to Home Depot's own consumer research, sales of manual hand tools have dropped steadily for 2 decades, because everyone relies on cordless drills, electric saws and nail guns. That's fine when the grid is stable, but after an EMP, it's a death sentence. When a pipe bursts, when a roof leaks, when a door breaks, who fixes it without electricity? Not the 90% who fail. The survivors are the ones with manual hammers, wrenches, hand saws and the skill to use them. A $100 hand tool kit can literally save a $200,000 house from collapse, when you're the only one who can stop the water flooding your basement, or patch the roof before a storm. Think about it. After Hurricane Sandy, thousands of homes were condemned, not because the storm destroyed them, but because people lacked the tools to make emergency repairs before mold and rot set in. Manual drills with hand crank bits, $20, can bore holes in wood and metal, without a single watt of electricity. Crowbars, $10, can pry apart jammed doors when family members are trapped inside. A handsaw, $15, lets you cut firewood when chainsaws are dead. These tools don't break, don't run out of charge, and don't depend on imports from China. Skills are the second half of the equation. If you can't cut a straight line, measure accurately, or turn a wrench with force, your tools are scrap metal. The survivors practice now. The 90% plan to figure it out later, and later never comes. Item number 5. Candles, oil lamps, and manual lighting systems. Here's a hard psychological truth. Humans break in the dark. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the average American experiences just 6 hours of blackout per year. That means most people have never lived even a single day without artificial light. When you strip light away, panic sets in fast. Studies show that prolonged darkness increases anxiety, disrupts circadian rhythms, and can cause full-on disorientation within 72 hours. This is why 90% fail in a long blackout. They don't realize how much they rely on light just to function. But you don't need complex systems to survive. A $5 emergency candle burns for 100 hours, providing enough light for cooking, reading and maintaining morale. Oil lamps, $20 each, give adjustable brightness, with cheap lamp oil that stores indefinitely. Add blackout curtains, $30, and you solve the number one security mistake, broadcasting your survival to desperate neighbors in pitch-black streets. Think about this scenario. Day 7 of the blackout. Your neighbor's house is pitch dark, children crying, family shivering. Your home, meanwhile, is calm and organized under steady lamplight. You're cooking, repairing, even teaching your kids lessons, because you had $50 worth of lighting preps. LED lanterns with hand crank power push it even further, giving bright directed beams for working after dark. The difference is staggering. With light, you extend your usable hours, keep morale high, and avoid deadly mistakes. Without it, you sit in paralyzing darkness, becoming part of the 90% who collapse long before hunger or thirst take them. Item number 4. Mechanical water filters and manual pumps. You can live 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. And here's the terrifying reality. The EPA admits that over 90% of U.S. municipal water systems depend on electric pumps and digital monitoring. In a blackout, taps run dry in less than 24 hours. That's when 90% of people fail, because they assumed water was infinite. A $40 gravity-fed ceramic water filter solves that problem. It removes 99.99% of bacteria, protozoa, even heavy metals, without electricity, without pressure, without anything except gravity. Relief agencies use these same filters in disaster zones, from Haiti to Syria, because they just work. Add a $15 hand pump, and you can pull water from wells, rain barrels, or ponds indefinitely. During Hurricane Harvey, entire neighborhoods were forced to drink contaminated flood water, leading to outbreaks of E. coli, norovirus, and leptospirosis. Families with gravity filters, they stayed healthy. The CDC warns that diarrheal disease alone can kill in days when medical care isn't available, especially children and the elderly. Water isn't just about drinking, either. You need it for cooking, sanitation, and first aid. A family of 4 burns through 3 to 5 gallons daily. That means storage matters too. 55-gallon barrels cost $70 and give you 2 weeks of buffer. Rainwater catchment adds long-term sustainability. But the linchpin is filtration. Without it, you're gambling with every sip. With it, you transform dirty puddles into safe, life-sustaining hydration. Fail here, and you're gone in 72 hours. Win here, and you've beaten one of the fastest killers in a blackout. Item number 3. Hand crank emergency radios. Here's the uncomfortable truth. In a grid-down crisis, information becomes more valuable than food. You can ration calories. You can't ration ignorance. According to the FCC, most cell towers only have backup power for 8 to 24 hours. After that, silence. The internet collapses, phones die, and 90% of people are flying blind. But a $30 hand crank emergency radio cuts through that silence like a lifeline. No batteries, no charging stations, no grid, just crank, and you're plugged into emergency broadcasts, weather updates, and local survival info. During Hurricane Ian in 2022, millions lost cell service, but those with radios still knew where to find food, which roads were open, and when storms were shifting. That's the survival edge. Many radios now double as flashlights, sirens, and even phone chargers, all powered by your own effort. But let's take it further. FRS walkie-talkies, $40 per pair, can give you 2 5-mile communication with family or neighbors. If you can coordinate, you survive. If you can't, you're alone, and alone is death in a blackout. Organized communities thrive. Isolated individuals crumble. Studies from FEMA's disaster case files prove it. Neighborhoods with communication networks had 70% fewer casualties during extended outages. That's the power of simple human voices over cheap handheld radios. The 90% fail because they rely on scrolling Twitter or waiting for texts. When those die, they're cut off. You with a hand crank radio and a $40 set of walkies have the one thing they don't: real-time intelligence. And intelligence is survival. Item number 2. Fire starting materials. If you can't make fire, you're already finished. Fire is heat, cooking, water purification, pest control, light, even signaling. But here's the dark reality. 90% of Americans have no idea how to start one without matches or lighters. A FEMA survey found that less than 20% of households keep more than a single pack of matches. That's why they fail. But for under $30, you can create a fire-starting arsenal that never quits. Strike Anywhere matches, $4 a box. Light on concrete, rocks, even fingernails. Waterproof storm matches ignite after being submerged. A ferro rod throws sparks at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to light damp tinder in a downpour. Add petroleum jelly cotton balls, which burn for 4 minutes each, and you have reliable flame under any conditions. Here's where data drives it home. Hypothermia kills more disaster victims annually than hunger, according to the Red Cross. Without fire, body temperature plummets. Without fire, water stays contaminated. Without fire, food remains raw. And when your neighbors are burning furniture in desperation, you're calmly igniting your stove with a $3 cube. Practice is the overlooked piece. Can you start a fire in rain, in 30 miles per hour winds, with cold hands shaking from stress? If you can't, then your fire kit is just dead weight. Survivors train now. They know how to build teepee fires, lean-to fires, Dakota fire holes that conceal flame from prying eyes. They know how to bank coals overnight to relight fires in seconds. The 90% never learn. The 10% practice. Which side are you on? Item number 1. Manual kitchen tools. Here's where survival becomes personal food. In a blackout, your pantry might be full of canned goods, but without the right tools, it's useless. And this is where 90% fail. They don't realize how dependent they are on electricity just to open, cut, grind, and prepare food. Your $60 electric can opener, dead. Your blender, food processor, and coffee maker, dead. But an $8 manual can opener keeps your family fed. That's survival math. In Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, families that had manual kitchen gear were cooking full meals within days, while others waited nearly a year for power restoration. Sharp knives, $15, replace 10 electric gadgets. Hand crank coffee grinders, $20, actually produce better coffee than electric models by preserving flavor oils. Mortar and pestle sets, $18, grind spices, crush grains, even process medicine without electronics. A manual egg beater whips cream, mixes batter, and stirs heavy doughs. No outlets needed. And here's the kicker, food isn't just calories, it's morale. A hot, well-prepared meal keeps your family sane, calm and organized, when everything else is falling apart. Studies from the Journal of Disaster Psychology prove that families maintaining normal routines, like shared meals, experience 40% lower stress and depression levels in crises. Food prep is culture, identity and survival rolled into one. Without manual tools, you're eating cold beans from cans with a butter knife, until supplies rot. With them you're cooking, baking, grinding and thriving. Don't be the 90% that starves in abundance. Be the 10% that knows how to turn simple cans into life-sustaining meals. When the grid fails, the difference between the 90% who crumble and the 10% who endure comes down to one thing: preparation. Not luck, not rescue, not wishful thinking, preparation. Every item we covered is cheap, simple and available today, but in a blackout they're priceless. Don't wait until you're standing in the dark, hungry, cold and cut off like my neighbor Elena. Act now, practice now, and build the skills that keep you on the right side of survival. When the lights go out, you'll know exactly what to do, because you already decided not to be one of the 90%.